there was a channel on YouTube that released a challenge for all YouTubers on the platform, the channel being Nando V Movies. It was made to celebrate the release of the Suicide Squad, which is actually the one movie I saw from the DCU besides Suicide Squad. It's a good movie, but the event that Nando V Movies is making is called One Villainous Scene, and the objective is to make one video on one scene that you like and you think defines a villain for you. And while I was thinking if I should join and what scene I should do, the same moment kept repeating in my head. And if you've seen the title and the thumbnail, you know exactly what scene I'm talking about, and if you don't, I'm about to spoil the entirety of Chainsaw Man for you. So just have that in mind. So hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Crush, and there is one scene in a manga that completely broke me when I first read it. A scene that made me throw my phone across the room, neatly into the couch because I was mad, not rich. This scene to me is one of the most important scenes in Chainsaw Man and one of the most important scenes for Makima. Now, this isn't Makima's introduction, this isn't the first time we realize something is off about her. This is not when you find out that she's evil, not even when you find out about her true identity. This is after all of that. But I do think we need to look at those scenes that came before it and establish how they build up Makima. And I think we need to start with the very beginning. Most people who read Chainsaw Man now will probably know that Makima is the villain, and they may claim that it is obvious from the start. And sure, there are some hints that definitely are there, but when I was first reading the manga, really wasn't. Sure, Makima could be a bit cold and definitely controlling, but in the first couple of volumes for Chainsaw Man, she feels much more like a rough and cold mentor and not necessarily a bad guy. She doesn't seem to care much about the team, but she does her best to kill the devils. It would not be too weird for Makima just be a strong human with a really sad backstory that made her that way. Of course, now we know that's not really who Makima is. And the first time she does something that really brings red flags is in chapter 26 when she gets killed, but then she just gets up. It's very creepy, but it's still not enough to tell that she's evil, though it becomes slightly more and more obvious as we approach the midpoint of the series. And in chapter 74 we finally get that reveal. Makima isn't just someone obsessed with controlling people, she is the manifestation of control, the control level. Her actions lead to one of the most emotional scenes in all of Chainsaw Man, the fight between Denji and Haki. Denji kills Haki in chapter 79, and our scene begins in chapter 80. Denji doesn't know Makima is evil. As a matter of fact, when Makima invites him to her house, she manages to cheer him up a bit. With the company of literal dogs, a nice cup of tea and hand-holding, Makima shows Denji that he's not alone. He still has his biggest passion, her, and that she cares for him. She even offers to grant him any wish possible, and yet we know this is but a way into Denji's heart to control him, and it works. As he, like the Suju's song, wants to be her dog. Denji is tired. He used to not have anything, his worries were mostly of gaining stuff, not to lose it. He spent most of his time at the lowest of the lows, but now he felt the pain of loss for the first time since Bushido, and he doesn't like it. He prefers to remove his own emotions and be nothing more than a pawn or a cog. Sadly, while it is Makima's plan to have Denji follow her, she doesn't want him to just be emotionless. She wants to break him. And I think this is why Makima feels so threatening and scary. Most villains want to get rid of the hero because the hero is in their way. They are trying to save the world or whatever. But if Makima was a traditional villain trying to rule the world and there was a hero that was going to try to stop her, that hero wouldn't be Denji. In that version of Chainsaw Man, Denji wouldn't be the main character. It would be the mid-boss that the characters need to defeat before moving to Makima. Yet, the nature of Makima's plan that we'll learn later involves specifically making Denji's life a living hell. She doesn't want Denji to die or to let her be, she wants him alive and by her side, so she can use him, and she wants to destroy all the bits of happiness that Denji may feel, even if that means creating that happiness first, so that she has something to destroy. And that is exactly what she has done. She has played the long game of making Denji befriend Power and Aki, and making sure his life was better, that he learned about friendship and he had people he cared for and cared back. And then she kills Aki, or even worse, she forces Denji to kill him instead. But even then, destroyed and depressed as he is, Denji still has two things that give him happiness: Power and Makima. So she kills those two things in one single moment. She asks Denji to follow his first orders as the new dog. You open the door, because I'm going to kill her. It It's a very dreadful moment. We know that she isn't joking, and Denji is slowly realizing the same as well, as we walk to the door in an insane slow pacing, fearing every step, thinking surely that isn't going to happen. Power isn't going to die, right? Denji could just not open the door. It probably wouldn't really stop Makima. She also has thumbs, she can open it herself, but she wants Denji to do it. Not just because that will prove how good of a puppy he is, but because then it'd be his responsibility. He opened the door that led to Aki's death at the order of Makima, and now the exact same thing is going to happen to Power. He is guilty. And yet, he still does it. He still opens the door, and then bang. In one moment, Makima kills Power. Literally. But it also kills the image of Makima in Denji's mind. The sexy, perfect Makima that will help Denji make all his dreams come true. She reveals that it was but an illusion. She kills it more by explaining her own plan, by telling him that she'll never let him be happy for long. She'll let him have friends, then she'll kill him. She'll let him fall in love and form a family, and then she'll kill him. She'll let Denji experience happiness so he can feel loss and despair and pain like never ever before. That Makima that Denji looked up to just never existed, and Denji now knows it. So without Aki, without Power, without Kushida, with Makima just being there to ruin his life, we're back to the start. Denji has hit rock bottom again, but this time it hurts so much more. This whole story is about a completely broken kid learning how to heal, just to learn how much it hurts to break all over again. That's why Makima is terrifying, because she knows how to use you. She knows how to hurt you. Because she fucking killed Power, the best goddamn character in this entire manga. I'm still very fucking pissed about it. But if you want more of Chainsaw Man, I've done a video where I see if the manga follows the 3 principles of Shonen Jump: friendship, effort, and victory. So if that interests you, check the video on the left. And if you watched it till here, thank you very much. I'll see you next video.